Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Today's very special guest, Mr. Keith Horne. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Hello. Are we rolling?
This is it.
Can I swear?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right. I'm posting a fucking Instagram story, and you're already rolling.
While he's Instagramming, let's give you a little backstory on how I met Keith. We were in a band together about going on 18 years ago. We met on Craigslist in North Carolina. He had an ad out for a bass player. I had an ad out for a guitar player, and our drummer had an ad out for a guitar player and a bass player. And we all met on the internet. We played together for about a year and a half, and then we met our singer, Craig Cox. Shout out, Craig. Give me a call if you're listening. And the rest is history. We were a band for a few years. Craig decided to go on the road, comes back from the road, and moves to California. We follow him shortly, and the rest is history. So Mr. Keith is a guitar player. And former recovering guitar player, and now famously known for his luthier work as the face behind and the owner of Marvin Guitars, one of our sponsors of the Safety Meeting program. So we brought Keith in today against his better judgment to shake the cameras as he's doing his Instagram post.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'm just messing with you. And because he just finished NAMM. So this is the post-NAMM recap show. And I just got mentioned in a blast. So we're going to cut that. Great. Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert, still trying to figure out how to stop shaking these cameras. It is not your fault, Keith. It is my fault for putting the tripod on the fucking table. Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Thanks for tuning in. Today's very special guest, Mr. Keith Horne. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we're going to be doing a post-NAMM recap because Keith is the owner of Marvin Guitars, which you've heard about just a few times on the show. Keith is a sponsor of the Safety Meeting Podcast by providing us with all of our guitar needs, which are zero at this point. But soon, you'll see them hanging on the wall here as we've purchased a couple hundred of them in support of our friend Marvin. Fuck it.
Do I look? It's fucking funny.
We could just start without an intro. I've got 5 or 6 intros.
I mean, just roll with it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, I can cut all that together.
Even with the 3 or 4 intros, I just say we roll with it.
Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Today's very special guest, Mr. Keith Horne of Marvin Guitars.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, you can clearly
turn
see
my radio voice on.
And here we are doing radio voices with Marvin Guitars. He very smartly wore his branding today. You can find shirts at marvinguitars.com. Is that the website?
Yes.
You can find him on Instagram at Marvin Guitars.
That is correct.
He's got a social media expert running his account right now.
Yes, I do.
So let's dive right in. Check him out. Pull him up. Look at all of his beautiful work. He's a luthier, if you can't pick it up from the name of his brand, Marvin Guitars. He makes guitars and basses. What's your slogan?
They don't make them like they used to, so I do.
That's what's up. So let's dive in. Let's give it a little backstory. You prepared for NAMM for about a year, right?
About a year, yeah. And it really didn't start until about October.
Right.
So
last minute rush.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had all these grand plans, to have everything done by July. Mm-hmm. Then July got pushed to August, and then August got pushed to October, and then October got pushed to 2 weeks before NAMM.
Just the last minute rush.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And you paired up in your booth. You have a partner, right?
Yeah, Daredevil Pedals. He's basically the reason why I did it. He hit me up last year and was like, hey, any interest in doing NAMM? And I was like, yeah, why not?
And what's his socials? Is it at Daredevil?
At Daredevil Pedals. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So leading up to NAMM, previously you had just been building guitars for specific customers.
It was basically custom work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you wanted something made that didn't exist, I could do it for you.
Right. Just out of thin air. Just bam.
Just bam. Yeah. It's just snap of your finger.
You chop down the tree.
You go out, preferably Oregon, and chop down a tree.
Right.
And then
And you mine the ore.
right. Yeah.
Wind the strings.
Right. And then you rent a van, you bring it back to California, you
Right.
chop it up immediately and just turn it into a playable musical
Yeah,
instrument.
it takes 12 to 13 years to craft a Marvin guitar. So
Right.
put your orders in now for 2035.
Yeah, right.
We'll get into some of the parts and other people that you order from to assemble the final bit. He doesn't hand make every single knob because that would take too long. So let's walk through your process. Or do you want to shout out the people that are playing your guitars first?
Whatever you want to do. It's your podcast.
Let's talk about some of the guys that are playing Marvin guitars.
Okay.
You've had signature models for a couple guys.
I did have a signature model for two guys, Christian Martucci from Stone Sour and AC Slade, who has been in a plethora of bands and is currently playing rhythm guitar for the Misfits.
Mm-hmm. And he also plays bass for...
He used to play bass for Joan Jett.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. I don't.
That's what hits me. I'm not a huge Misfits fan.
Right.
So when he's hanging out, I'm like, dude, that guy knows Joan Jett.
Fucking Joan Jett.
Right?
And
Legend.
Blackheart. He was sort of a Blackheart.
Yeah? Did he come up with the name?
No, the Blackhearts were around forever. Yeah.
Did he invent gasoline? No. He has his own line of coffee, Dead Sled Coffee.
Dead Sled Coffee, yes, he does.
And it's delicious.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's jet fuel, bro.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, we should get him to sponsor the podcast.
You should.
Or at least just put a bag of Dead Sled right here as a favor.
Yeah.
And get him on the show. Shout out. I was about to call him Christian. Holy shit. I get those two guys mixed up all the time. No offense, guys, like you're listening. So NAMM this year, for those of you at home that don't know, NAMM is the National Association of
Music
something.
Merchants.
No one really knows what NAMM stands
Yeah.
for. But it's a conference where vendors can come along, set up booths, and it's not open to the public.
It is not.
You have to get a ticket through a vendor.
Yes. I think you can buy a ticket if you're not a member, but it's really expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so many floating around. You just got to know a guy that knows a guy. And you
Right.
get in.
Yeah.
So you get to see famous musicians walking around, checking out new gear, visiting the booths of the people that they're sponsored by. Were there anybody notable that kind of popped by your booth this year?
There were several. What's his name? Adrian Ballou, who played with Frank Zappa.
Wow.
King Crimson popped in. Jimmy Vivino from the Conan O'Brien Show popped in.
Yeah.
Butch Walker, famous producer, many songs and albums that he's produced.
And half the reason why we're sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah, we tried to emulate Butch's sound when we were younger.
Right.
in a
Well,
band.
the reason I say that is because our singer Craig went on tour with Butch and American Hi-Fi. That led him to the process of moving here, which also influenced us to move here.
Right.
So not just, we like Butch, let's move to California.
Right.
Let's talk about leading up to NAMM this year. Did you have a target goal of how many instruments you
I
wanted?
wanted to take 20. I ended up with 15, which I was completely happy with.
And what's the spread? You make guitars and basses?
I do.
And
yeah.
what's the spread there? You got 10 and 5?
I had 4 basses and 11 guitars.
One of which is a 10-string bass, guys. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
Super awesome. And you made a 10-string bass for
Jeff Pilson of Foreigner, Dokken, Yeah.
We're going to name this the Name Dropping Podcast.
Right.
So that's awesome. Overall NAMM experience this year over last year?
Very successful.
Yeah.
Well, last year I wasn't an exhibitor. I just provided some guitars for Johnny from Daredevil Pedals, and then that's how we met. And he asked to basically partner with a booth this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, last year a completely different thing. I only let them borrow 3 guitars. So, and 3 guitars to 15 in the course of a year.
Big jump.
A big jump.
Yeah. And you had a little help this year in the assembly process, right?
Yeah. My friend Matt Gabbs. Yeah. He came out and helped build as well as helped in the booth this year. Huge help. Great guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's super cool.
He's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
He was formerly in a band called the Biters, which did some pretty good stuff and wrote some super
Yeah,
cool
they opened for
songs.
Green Day, right?
I don't know, maybe.
Isn't that the Green Day connection?
Well, he's friends with one of the guy. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about this.
Not yet. Oh,
No, he's friends with one of the guys who is who's kind of helping out Green Day on guitar right now.
oh,
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah, very small world.
For both of my listeners, they're probably
Right,
blown
yeah.
away right now. Well, that's awesome. Shout out Matt. I got to shoot him one time with AC together in the Fillmore basement.
Right.
Maybe we shouldn't drop where you make the guitars. Do you want to talk
That's
about
fine.
that?
It's all over the place.
There's a magical warehouse in a land far, far away that many luthiers work out of. Keith is part of that collective.
It's in a small town called Fillmore, California.
Right. Which is, if you've ever seen anything shot on a train, that's where they shot it.
Right. It's actually a good place to be for building guitars because no one wants to drive out there.
Nobody.
So it stays
forever.
quiet.
That's actually where I had my wood shop for all the art that
All
you
the beautiful
see.
artwork.
Yeah. Keith taught me how to make this shit.
I didn't.
In fact, he designed all of these pieces. In fact, when I first made this design, it was one wave, and Keith, on a coffee break, walks up and just slides a row over and inspired this wave pattern. So you're responsible
Which
for
is now
this.
sweeping the nation.
It is. I think I got 25 of them made.
25,
This
really?
is what's left, yeah.
Holy shit.
This is it. This is it. No one's ever seen this half of the room on the show before.
Well,
So we're going to leave that a mystery.
let's rearrange the furniture.
Let's do it. We'll be right back after these messages. Let's circle back. The theme of the show is that we walk people through their life story and how they got to Hollywood. I could probably quote this for you, but we're going to let you tell it. Where were you born?
I was born in Wilmington, North Carolina.
I knew that.
A small farm child from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Were you actually born in Wilmington proper, or
I was born in Wilmington, yeah.
when? This is going to jump around a lot because I know too much about the story. And then, how long did you live in Wilmington?
I never actually lived in Wilmington proper. I was just born there because
Oh,
that's
we're getting
where
technical.
Yeah, that's
the
where
hospital outside the farm town is in the big city.
Yeah, but no, I grew up in a very, very small town outside of Wilmington called Willard.
Willard?
Yeah.
Willard, North Carolina.
Literally, I grew up in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah. He's got Willard tattooed from shoulder to shoulder on his back. Go ahead and
my
show,
back, yeah.
show him your tattoo. Keith.
It's tattooed in angel wings.
Right, in the Marvin font.
Right, exactly. Yeah, which is where the font came from for my logo.
Oh, yeah. Who is that tattoo artist?
No,
Real talk? Who did this tattoo?
my friend David Jones. I think he is still doing tattoos in New Bern, North Carolina, and I wish I knew the name of his tattoo shop, but
Man.
I don't.
We walked in there one day to say hello, and I couldn't leave without getting stamped with my first nautical star.
Yeah, and I got this dot
Hashtag
right here.
That's a freckle. You don't have any tattoos, do you?
None, no.
Which is crazy because when you see Keith hanging out with all of his musician friends, it's just everybody's painted from head to toe, and Keith's got nothing.
Yeah.
So born in Wilmington and quickly rushed back to Willard. Did you grew up there, went to school there, did all the things?
Yeah, until I was 20.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Atlanta to
That's right.
pursue my music career, which led me back to North Carolina.
Right. Do you want to talk about that audition that you had in New Orleans for that guy?
I mean, we can briefly discuss it, I guess. I had the opportunity to audition for Marilyn Manson, like right after the Portrait of an American Family record. It was fun, but ultimately not for me.
Yeah. Is it weird to think about? Because our friend Jason Sutter, who Craig moved into when he first moved to North Carolina, ended up playing for Manson for a little
It's
while.
very weird to think about the Jason Sutter connections.
Like-
He was in Foreigner.
Yeah.
Jeff plays for Foreigner.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could have been that you would have met Sutter through
I probably
Marilyn.
would have. Yeah.
and then played together, and that would have been a whole
A
different
whole different
dynamic.
thing. Whole different
That's
thing.
crazy. It's a small world out
Yeah.
there, folks. It's a real small world after all. So Atlanta, what kind of things happened in Atlanta? Where were you working? What were you doing?
I did lawn care for a living to pursue my music career.
Seriously, was it your company?
Oh no, no.
But you bought a house off of lawn care.
I did, yeah. It was back in the day, man.
Yeah.
I was 20. I was 21 years old. They were just giving out loans.
You get a mortgage. You get a mortgage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I should have gotten probably $8 an hour or something, and they gave me a freaking mortgage at 21 years old.
Dude,
like, really?
That's awesome. But ultimately, well, who else did you play with when you were in Atlanta?
I played in several different bands during that time. No one that gained any real notoriety until after I left Atlanta, and my friends in a band called Rockets to Ruin asked me to come and play for them for a while, so I did. And
they're doing pretty well right now, yeah?
No, they're done.
Okay.
No, but
I thought they had a German record deal.
No, the bass player is in another band that is doing fairly well.
Yeah.
In the European market.
And then there was the singer guy that we knew when we first moved here. Cleve.
Yeah, Cleve is still around.
Is he's rocking and rolling in Germany?
No.
All your old friends in my head live in Germany.
He owns a yoga studio in Atlanta.
That's right. So that's Cleve. What about the hairdresser guy?
Oh, London LeGrand. London was before I moved to Atlanta.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like he was in North Carolina?
Yeah, he was in North Carolina. And we had a band with him. And what an eccentric dude that guy is.
Yeah. He gave me a Slipknot haircut the first week we moved to California. Like spikes going everywhere.
Yeah, what a dude.
I'll never see that $150 ever again.
You should get a refund.
Yeah. Now, okay, third guess. He's the one in Germany doing it now?
You know, I don't know what he's doing. Last I heard he was in Sweden. But it could also be that he is back in L.A. now. He went on to play in a band with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue and Tracy Guns from L.A. Guns.
What's the name of that band?
Called The Brides of Destruction.
Brides of Destruction.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, they put out 2 records, and, you know, Brides of Destruction didn't pay the bills like Motley Crue does, so ultimately... it's
odd.
Yeah,
really,
right.
really weird. Do you know anything about the band 6 a.m.?
I mean, I know it's Nikki's side project thing.
The episode probably before this, but maybe after, with Halston Ray, who's a podcast producer, got his start in engineering from the guy that started or is the main dude in, other than Nikki.
Right.
John? Chris?
I don't know.
Tune in next week or recheck last week. Sorry, Halston.
Maybe just put a scroll at the bottom of the
just a link to that. Yeah. I was thinking the whole time I was interviewing him, I was like, Keith's going to have so many 6 a.m. stories.
None.
Not one.
No, I did go to, the guitar player for 6 a.m. is DJ Ashba, and I went to his, it may have been his birthday party or either his store opening or possibly both in Las Vegas.
Right.
And they had some giveaways, and I won everything.
This is a good segue. You have a customer in Las Vegas.
Who is that?
This doesn't just automatically. He's a magician.
Oh, no, we can't talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have any customers.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
No talking about that.
Not yet.
NDA?
Well.
Oh, is the thing not happened yet?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have some friends with a new show in Vegas, but I can't talk about that either.
What is that?
See, I can't talk about it. It's got
Vegas
Action Motorsports. Cool. This is riveting shit. When you live a life in Los Angeles inside the industry, so much shit you can't talk about. That's the douchiest thing I've ever said.
Hey, man, we live in L.A. We can't talk about anything.
But shout out to my friend Steve. I will not be saying I'm going to cut that out and then not cut it out. So
Right.
I'll either cut it out or I won't.
Yeah. You can leave it in.
Probably.
Yeah.
If you're still watching, you're a fucking saint. But if you're still listening, you're stuck in LA traffic.
How long do these usually go?
You got 45 more minutes.
45 more.
Yeah.
All right.
We could call it a mini episode.
No, it's fine.
We'll do another 15.
We can talk all day long if you want.
We can.
Well, I mean, I've got to go by 3
right now.
We can talk for an hour and a half.
I actually have a ton of shit to edit, so we're gonna fly right through this. You moved down to Atlanta, moved back, and then what were you doing around Wilmington when you moved back? Did you move back to Willard, or did you land in Wilmington proper?
No, I moved back to Willard, and that's how I met you guys.
Yeah,
because I was bored out of my mind.
Right.
So
and no one else would play with you.
Well, there's no one else to play with unless you want to play country covers, unless you want to play, Bob Seger or which nothing wrong with Bob Seger. But,
No offense, Bob.
yeah. Yeah.
Bob's just
Hope
sitting,
I didn't offend you, Bob.
Bob's sitting at home like, what the fuck? What do I have to do with this? Oh, that would be great. I have 3 listeners, and one of them's Bob Seeker. Oh, he's just sitting in his Chevy like a rock. Oh, man. Hashtag Bob. That's great. So you, lifetime guitar player, learned when you were a kid.
I started playing when I was 13, 14, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. When did you make your first guitar? Did you always have the bug to try and build one?
Sort of. I mean, I always modified my own shit just because living so far away from a real town, you couldn't just take it to a repair guy or someone to upgrade it. So, yeah, I was always swapping pickups, setting my own action, doing fretwork, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, where did you order parts in the 1800s? Was it like something like a bail order thing?
No, I had to go to a machinist and have everything crafted.
Right.
Yeah.
You had to go to the town.
Luckily, there were lots of farm supply places that had machinists that built stuff for tractors. So, they could handcraft all of that stuff.
Right. What is it? What am I thinking of? The blacksmith.
Yeah.
The town blacksmith.
Yeah.
Right. So,
everything was forged over an open flame.
you had to trade chickens for it. That was the barter system. But no, legit, 80s, 90s, you can't just hop on the internet
No.
and order.
No,
So you had to flip through guitar magazines and call them and order it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think Stu Mac was around back then, which is still around. They're a big luthier supply company.
What was it like talking to people on the phone?
It was weird.
That's a texting joke, folks.
It was kind of like this, but you're staring at your own wall instead of someone else across the table from you.
Hold, please. Cool. So
Dude, do you remember the order forms? Like in magazines, you had to fill out an order form.
They fell out of the magazine.
Yeah, and you had to fill that out for guitar parts. You had to do that. You had to. It was you had to look through the catalog, find the item number, fill it out on a list, and then actually fold it up, put it in an envelope, lick a stamp, and send it in the mail. And then, 18 weeks
Stamps.
later, you actually get your product that you ordered.
Right. 4 to 6 weeks was always the standard.
Right.
And it was always 9 to 12 weeks. Yeah. That's interesting. Imagine the receiving end of that order form. Those are people that don't want a call center.
Right.
They don't want to employ anybody to sit there and wait for the phone to ring.
Right.
So they put these ads out. You get these cards, and they're like, I guess I got to send Keith some new pots.
Right.
Wow.
Crazy.
That wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't.
25 years, maybe.
I mean, 2007 was the invention of the smartphone. So,
yeah.
I mean, we were still doing that.
We had the internet in 97, 98.
Yeah.
People could start ordering. I remember when, in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was still sketchy to order. It's I'm not putting my credit card on the internet.
Well, it's still sketchy to order.
Oh, 100%. We have way better encryption now.
Right.
But back then, it would be you put your debit card in, and they would just drain your account.
Yeah.
Because accidentally or on purpose.
And that can still happen.
Yeah.
I mean, now I guess the problem is counterfeit stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you counterfeiting stuff now?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a side business on Amazon.
Counterfeits.com. Check it out. The most interesting thing about counterfeiting to me that I just picked up either watching a crime documentary or definitely not interacting with anybody who did it was that they would print the money out and go down to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. And then it would buy a round of $20, $30 worth of drinks with a $100 bill. They would get the change, put it in a different pocket, go to another bar, make some friends, buy them a round of drinks.
And then they have real money all of a sudden.
They washed it up. Don't do that at home.
That's an idea.
Yeah. But if you need to know the make and model of the printer, that will... Just kidding. Today's episode is brought to you by Canon Printers. You ever have that moment where you're just thinking man, I'm an idiot?
Always.
I'm having that moment right now.
Always.
Had that moment last night, too, at the open mic. Let's get you through this story so then we can just shoot the shit.
All right, where were we?
We were back in Wilmington after Atlanta. I think you had maybe taken a job with Time Warner. Is that
Yes.
right? Which was probably the best job ever, right?
Yeah,
You didn't have to go. It was like Fight Club, right?
pretty much. Yeah.
It's statute of limitations.
No, I mean, I worked my way up. I started out in just the call center bullshit,
right.
selling people ESPN Although that wasn't really a sell. That came with the standard
Right.
package.
Sports ball.
Upgrading people to HBO.
Hey, look at
Another $2 in my paycheck
That's
this week.
right. Oh, so you're a commission, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was, I guess what they called an account executive, which meant absolutely nothing.
Right.
Or no, I was a sales retention specialist. That's what I was.
So if someone called and they were pissed and they were like, I'm canceling my shit, you just start throwing free stuff at them until they stay.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why you hate talking to people now. You got it all out of the way. I
don't hate talking to people.
Yeah.
It's just not my favorite thing to do.
Because most people are fun. Cool. So then I guess that takes us like right up to when we met.
Right. I mean, I basically in my 20s, a job was just something to help me buy music gear.
Right.
So
because we were going to get rich and famous.
of course, we were going to get a record deal and move out to Hollywood and, have a house in the hills, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so jobs were just a job just to buy music gear. So when I was in Wilmington working for that company, I still wanted to play music. And so I did the whole Craigslist thing and somehow ended up meeting you guys.
Yeah.
And by you guys, I mean you and Craig and a male nurse.
Shout out Jared. The analytics say that he's the third watcher.
Oh, really? No shit.
Yeah,
okay.
There's somebody
All
in
right.
Chapel
Hey,
Hill
Jared.
listening. What's up, Jay? Thanks for tuning in.
What if it was? What if he was like,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
His kids would probably be 9 and 11 by now.
God, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, crazy was his wife. So, that's the best thing that could have happened to us, losing that drummer. We found a gentleman named Alex. We found a bunch of Alexes.
Yeah.
We can't keep them straight. There's 2 of them.
Lots of Alexes with last names that start with S and
2 L's.
no.
No.
Very similar last names anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is a very inside baseball episode right here.
I feel like everyone should already know our backstory.
Yeah. They're getting to know me a little bit better by getting to know you. And then I cue the music.
Do you put music? Do you put background
No.
music? No?
Not during the talky parts.
No. How about, like, you don't have one of the little button things with sound
sure.
effects? Yeah, well, let's get some sound effects.
I have beaten these sound effects to death on this show.
Okay.
But
Do you have, like, the old car horn?
No.
No?
I have my favorite one. And that's the volume's down. Yeah, I'm such a professional here. Let's try it again.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
When people stumble on their words. And then I've got applause for when I'm really kicking ass. Oh, that's when I'm feeling the vibe with a lady on the show.
Yeah, gotcha.
Riveting shit. If you've listened to anything, you've heard all these sounds before. Yeah. I'm not going to play all of them, but I will do Floyd Mayweather again.
I'm Floyd Mayweather, and I'm Floyd Mayweather.
He's literally reading the copy. It's so funny. But yeah, we're going to reprogram those for season 2
And when is season 2?
after season 1.
Okay.
Right after these messages. Oh man! So we were playing with a guy. We found Craig, our singer, Craig Cox. If you're listening, give me a call. I always say that every time I bring him up. Never calls, but always.
Craig and I
listens.
watched an episode together.
Of the show.
Yeah.
You watched it.
Yeah.
On YouTube
Yes.
after the cameras or before when it was just a picture.
No, there was cameras.
Was it the 4-shot?
It was the one with with Cybers and Murph and you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
was there someone else?
Silent Dan was in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
We call him Silent Dan. He doesn't like to talk.
Right. Yeah.
Who is a fantastic dog house sitter and dog whisperer.
DansDogs.com.
That's right. That'd be so funny if people try to look that up. Dan can barely operate his fucking cell phone. Great dude. I skateboard with him. You should come skating with us, dude. It's a great workout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it tonight.
I might go right after this.
Okay.
Do you have a board?
I don't.
Dan has 4.
Okay.
4 boards.
Yeah.
4boards.com.
Yeah. I haven't skated since I was 20.
Right. So let's fast forward.
Okay.
In 2006, you, me, and Mr. Cybers decided to move out here and chase Craig. Who had
How
moved
much
out
of
here.
this banter are you going to edit out?
None.
Because we're just shooting the shit.
We are.
Okay.
I feel like people are going to be interested in your life story.
Yeah. Okay.
And if not, they won't hear it because they'll just fucking turn it off.
Right.
Or skip it.
Right. Because they have that option.
They do. It's technology.
Right.
You also have the ability on iTunes. For those of you who are new to podcasting, you can listen to it at 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, or 2 times. So you can get through an hour-long episode if you can stand people sounding like Mickey Mouse.
I was getting ready to say, does it change the octave?
Oh,
of-
yeah.
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 Okay.
The Chipmunks, not Mickey Mouse, is what I
Right.
was going for.
Yeah.
But you can get through an hour-long episode in 30 minutes
Did
if
not
you
know
really
that.
want to. Yeah, it's in the actual iTunes app.
Okay. I'm not an iPhone person, so
Get out.
yeah, I know.
This show is brought to you by iTunes. So we moved here in 2006.
Yes.
You, myself, Cybers, and your dog Gunner
Yes.
all move into a 1-bedroom,
Basically.
2-bedroom.
It was,
Excuse me.
It was 2, but it was basically 1.
Yeah.
It was
for the-
basically 1 big
2 for the price of
bedroom.
1. Yeah. Do you remember what happened to us on our first day here?
Yeah. Someone got shot in the lawn of our brand new, beautiful North Hollywood apartment.
Yeah. Welcome to California.
Welcome to California, bitches.
So Keith and I rode together in the car on the drive out here, and Alex drove behind us in his little Civic because he didn't want to wait because I was pulling a trailer. And we got first night we went to Atlanta, I think, on the drive here. Second night we made it to
That's right,
Texas.
we did.
We were so tired.
Why did we go to Atlanta?
We had to take the 10 because we left from Wilmington
Why didn't we take I-40?
because of the hurricane had flooded the highway
shit,
out.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever
Forgot about
hurricane
that.
was in 2006, in August
Right.
of 2006, flooded 40 so bad that we had to go down to Atlanta and take the 10 across.
Right. We missed our going away party.
Yep. And we drove through the broadside of Texas.
Yeah.
And shout out to everyone I've ever met from Texas. Fly there, don't drive there. So we move in. Somebody gets shot the first day that we're there. We're living there. We're having a good time. We go out to see.
And it was over some rims.
Yeah, he put his tires out in the front yard while we went to Target to buy stuff for the house. We come back, 50 cops,
Blood everywhere.
blood. I didn't see any blood.
Yeah, there was blood on the sidewalk.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe everywhere was an exaggeration, but
Everywhere.
there were a few drops of blood on the
was
sidewalk.
that was the name of our side project. Blood everywhere from North Hollywood, California. So that was a thing that happened, and then so we play for a little bit. We're here. We're practicing. We're working on our record deal, and then something momentous happened to you about 2 months after we lived here.
I was bitten by a shark and lost my right arm.
And that is when you came up for the original idea for the song "Baby Shark Doo 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 Doo."
No, actually, I met a girl and got married.
And this is a callback to somebody who just visited your booth.
Oh yeah, we actually met at a Butch Walker show. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you probably didn't tell Butch
I
that.
did not tell him that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, when you meet up with him for drinks, you'll
Yeah.
go over that.
I will bring that up.
Yeah.
That's-
Like, this is all your fault.
and we're still married.
Interesting enough, you're probably setting a record for longest marriage in Los Angeles.
Probably. It's going to be 13 years
Yeah.
in April.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because, boom.
Right.
Yeah. We've lived here that long.
Yeah.
She eventually moved in with us.
Right.
And this is a bit that I had, but I stopped telling it.
Why did you stop telling it? I
'Cause it's-
heard it was funny.
It is funny. I just don't have a punchline for it. But they
Oh.
so big.
Let's create a punchline.
You want to do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it. That's right. If it ever gets on a Netflix special, I want my points.
Your points. Wow. Great. I'll pay you up front for it. I'll do a buyout. You can have the 13 cents right now. Jeremy just got a stack of residual checks from something, like a stack.
And you go cash like all these 5-cent checks.
They were
right?
65 cents, but they sent him 13 of them from the same accounting department.
Like, can't you just wait a while?
Right.
Like, let's let this build up
They
for
like
until it's
until
at least $1.50.
it should build up to the value of the stamp and the paper that you printed
Right.
on, and then
Yeah.
that should come out of your account. And then if it goes above like 10 or 15 bucks, they should send it to you.
Right.
If you're
Should
waiting
I
on,
be looking at the camera or should I be looking at you?
You can look wherever you
I'm
want to.
really uncomfortable in front of a camera. Just
it's not even on.
oh, okay, cool.
Don't worry about that red light that's blinking.
Right. Okay. That just means it's off, right?
Right.
Red means off. Green means go.
Oh man, maybe you should be the comedian. My comedy career is going well.
I think it is.
Yep. As soon as this show comes on, if this show takes off and people watch these back episodes,
Not if, when.
I like
Come on,
where
man.
your head's at.
Power of positivity.
Joe Rogan said on his podcast this morning, he recorded it some other time, but I listened to it this morning, so it's this morning to me, that if he had to go back and listen to like his first 100 episodes, he would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
So here's to getting through the first 100.
Right. How many are you on now?
This will be 41 or 42.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
I didn't quit.
Moving right along.
That's right.
Hell
I got to
yeah.
get to 100 by June.
Okay.
So that means, mathematically, that means 3 a week, which isn't going to happen because
I think it can.
it could happen.
Yeah.
I would just have to hire somebody to do the post because it's taking too long.
Oh.
And then there's weeks like next week where I got to work every single day on my
Right.
real job,
Right.
which is producing this show. One day. Okay.
Okay,
so
back to it.
we're back, and we're back. So how long were you in morning radio? I'm just kidding. So you and Kira got married.
Yes.
On the beach, private ceremony, family only.
Yeah.
And then
Barely family.
a couple months later, we're out. You decided to move to Florida,
Yeah.
which
Best decision we ever made.
because
You know, actually, I joke about that, but it kind of was because
Right.
it actually separated us from everything and just allowed us to become really good friends
Right.
without any interference from anyone else.
and you guys moved to the Fountain of Youth, literally. Like you,
Yes, we live right around the corner from the Fountain of Youth.
And they look exactly like the day they moved away.
Except for the gray beard. I guess the Fountain of Youth has nothing to
Right.
do with that.
So skin and muscle structure and eyes and everything is the same, but your hair will deteriorate eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
When's the last time you've been to the fountain, though? 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years ago, yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
why it's getting gray.
But we did have a bottle of Fountain of Youth water.
Did you
that-
drink it?
It was disgusting. It's so disgusting. It tastes like sulfur water. It's really gross.
Maybe sulfur is the key to youth.
And the weird thing is that we had it for a while, and it did start to get some floaties in it from something. So
Delicious.
who knows what's in that Fountain of Youth water? But I don't recommend drinking it.
Look out for Marvin water coming soon. You know what? Cyber says the same thing. So Cyber's also moved away and had some kids in Florida, and then has since moved back. And you guys ended up living like a couple of blocks away from each other.
Yeah, I'm
Didn't even
really
know it.
surprised we didn't run into each other because we would go to Orlando all the time.
Yeah, I think he actually lived like out by you. He moved out to the coast.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he was out near you somewhere.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I think we figured out one time that you
We'll
guys
have
were
to
like 3
talk
miles
about
away
that.
from each other.
For real?
Yeah, it was weird
Crazy.
when we figured that out. But
Get him on the
eventually,
phone. I want to know where he lived.
get him on the phone.
Yeah. Can you call him?
I can call him, but I already talked to him this morning. So,
I haven't talked to him.
I don't think he'll answer. We'll try.
I say give it a try.
Please listen to Baby Shark while we dial Mr. Cyrus. Yes. People hate it when I make calls on this show. It's the only time anybody gives me any feedback. They're like, you got to stop making phone calls.
Oh, really?
Well, I think it's because my phone will
Even
ring.
when your current guest, like me, is as boring as me, I feel like they would.
I don't think you're boring at all. Ooh. Okay, are we all hooked up? Nope.
This is fascinating.
It really is. This is why I don't make phone calls
No,
anymore.
I think it is fascinating that this technology, you and I talking to each other
Yeah.
through microphones
In headsets.
and headsets, when you and I talk to each other all the time without microphones and headsets. We're basically doing the exact same thing that we normally do.
Right.
But I'm telling you the same stories that you know.
Right. We're telling these stories for the listeners at home. Let's see here.
And now we're about to involve another friend.
Here comes another human.
Do you have to warn him that he's on the air?
Legally? I have no idea,
Yeah.
but probably.
Hello?
Hey, Cybers, you're on the air with Mr. Keith Horne. Do you have a second?
I do.
What's
For you, I've
happening?
got 5.
We got to the part in his life story where he moved to Florida and lived by the Fountain of Youth, and we were trying to figure out how close you guys lived together without knowing it. Where did you live in Florida?
What is that town called? Ponce Inlet? Is that what it is?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You were it was a bit farther south, I think, right?
In this case, I'm going to need you to corroborate that I just claimed that you live within 2 miles of where he lives, so I'm going to need you to make up that city and go ahead and confirm my lie.
Ponce Inlet?
Yeah, Ponce City, Ponce Del.
Okay.
It was I was in the hamlet of Ponce Del,
Ponce City.
which may or may not be a place. It's probably not a place. I was in Orlando, like probably a good
Right.
120 miles from where you were.
Right.
Well, folks, I was way off.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I was surprised. Okay, so yeah, Ponce Inlet is over by Smyrna. Okay, it's not that far actually. It's south of Daytona Beach. So yeah, we actually lived in Flagler County for a while, which is just one county up from Ponce Inlet. Wow, crazy. So yeah,
Like ships in the night.
Holy shit.
We could have had something.
I know, man. Damn it.
Something more
Missed
than what we already had.
opportunities. Missed opportunities.
Cyrus,
my
one thing
whole
that
Yeah.
Keith just mentioned, that he said that moving to Florida was one of the best things that happened, because then he moved back and really appreciated it. Is that a similar thing in your case?
I mean, I think that anyone with blood pumping through their veins and a good amount of brain matter in their head will have a similar experience. But I totally agree. I mean, going to Florida will make you appreciate anywhere you were before that.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I love Florida.
But I mean, I went from. I mean, hey, don't take the beaches and the springs away from Florida. That shit rules.
Right.
It's just everything else definitely blows.
It's yeah.
And honestly, if I had to do it over again, I probably would go to the University of Central Florida, because for reasons that would become obvious if you walked around that campus.
Right.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Do they have similar stats to Wilmington?
Yeah, similar reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's going to stay within our little circle. We all know what that means.
Just go ahead and beep that out.
Bars and
no,
tone.
I think Florida's great, but nothing beats California. And I went to Portland as well, as you know.
Right.
And that shit doesn't. I mean, I would rather be in Florida than Portland.
Dude.
Polarizing opinion.
Yeah.
Me too.
There's a lot of positive talk about Portland, and I recently went as well, and I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. You and anyone else that lives in reality, once you really dig in there, it's not the masterpiece they all claim. But it's kind of one of those things where like everyone wants you to share in the misery. I feel like.
You know what I
like having kids.
feel about Portland? It's basically like Raleigh, Durham. So if you're from the West Coast and you've never seen anything but, or if you're from Southern California and you've never seen anything but the brown and the dirtiness, and then you go to Portland and it's green and there's a river and there's some hilly areas, I think you're just naturally drawn to that. But it's basically like Raleigh. It's very similar.
With less water.
With less water?
I mean, there's a massive river up there. We don't have one in Raleigh. We have a lake.
Yeah. But I feel like it's very similar in the way it looks. I mean, I haven't been to Raleigh in years, though, so I can't really say exactly what Raleigh is like anymore. But that was just my take on it.
Cyrus, thanks for taking our call. We'll call you back offline, and thanks for sorting out that
Hey, man, it was
battle.
good talking to you.
You guys enjoy yourselves. Always good talking to you, Keith and Isaac. Good day.
Okay. Bye-bye now. Oh, he hung up first. That's so funny. Oh, man, taking calls on the air. Did you ever think that I would have a talk show?
No.
Yeah, I don't talk good.
You do talk good.
I do talk good. You know, how long did it take you to get rid of your Southern accent?
I think I still have it.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not as bad. I did work at not having it.
Yeah.
But it does come out. My wife always says it comes out worse when I'm on the phone with my family.
I wonder what we sounded like the first year here when we were transitioning from y'all to bro.
Like when you go back home and you talk to the people that you grew up with.
And you're like, what did you say?
What?
And they're like, no, I told you I was going over there because we're going to do it.
Is it really that hard to enunciate?
It's Boomhauer all day.
It really is.
But
Yeah.
we go right into it when we've been drinking, though.
It does come out.
It does.
Yeah.
Now we're drinking Trulies.
White Claw.
White Claws. There's no laws when you're drinking claws. I knew I was going to drop that the minute you walked in here with one of those. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we're nearly there, Keith. Let's just get you through. Were you, correct me if I'm wrong, you built your first guitar when you were still living in Florida?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you just did
It was
yes
just
and no
it was just a
answers?
hobby thing, though, you
Right.
know, and I didn't expect it to be great, but it was decent. You know.
So I'm going to tell a little story, and then you tell me how much I lied about it.
Okay.
When we were in the band in North Carolina still,
Yes.
you placed your guitar, or maybe I placed your guitar, in the bed of your pickup truck.
Right.
And the tailgate was not put up.
Yes.
That was either my fault. Let's just call it my fault.
Yeah.
And then you drive away out onto a highway.
Right.
And realize that it has fallen out and gotten run over by something. I'm going to call it an 18-wheeler semi.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You collect the pieces. Do you want to finish?
No.
Okay.
No,
let me see if I
you're
got it.
dead on.
You collect all the pieces. Was the
Right.
case busted too? Or just throw
Everything was busted.
It was all busted as shit.
Yeah.
Did you put that guitar back together?
I did. I actually made a new neck for it, and it is still currently unassembled, but it does have a neck glued in, and it has been painted, and it is ready for assembly. But I just have not put it together yet.
Are you gonna finish it one day?
I am one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What guitar that you've built means the most to you?
Oh, wow. What a good question. Probably the very first one that I built for AC, because it's the one that led to everything. Like, without that guitar, no one would even know I exist, basically.
Right.
So yeah, probably that one.
So AC was kind of like the conduit to
Yeah.
getting in the club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And AC has since bought or had a deal for multiple guitars. now.
He's had several, yes, and we do have a signature out there for him.
You also have. Do you want to shout out Juan? You're another good customer of yours.
Juan Perez has played with everyone, staple in the LA music scene. Yeah, very good guy. He's bought several basses from me.
Including your mini basses.
The mini basses, the Marvin mini series, which is a 27-inch scale bass that sounds like a real one.
Yeah,
Looks like a toy, but sounds like a real one.
yeah, but they weren't available at NAMM this year, right?
I did not have any in NAMM. No.
I think that would have been a big attention getter.
Maybe so. Maybe next year. I was really out of wall space,
Yeah.
though. So,
Do you build short scale guitars as well?
I can. I don't, but it is a possibility.
Sure. I mean, anything's possible. If
Yeah.
you can dream it, we can build it.
I mean, technically, the guitars I build, some people would call them short scale because they're 24 and 5/8, and like Fender style. I don't know if I can name drop them, but like, but Fender style bolt-on guitars are generally 25.5-inch scale, and I'm just not really a fan of that. Everything I build is set neck and not bolt-on, so that scale length is slightly shorter. So some people do say that those guitars are short scale guitars, but they're not.
Do you, since you, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, now we're getting all kinds of shit. That was the computer going on. You prefer a fatter neck, right? So do
Yeah,
you
I
in
do.
general build fatter necks for your
I
brand?
have a tendency, yeah.
And do you find that most people agree with that preference?
I feel like most of the people who are into the style of guitars that I play are into a more chunky style neck.
Chunky necks.
Yeah.
Hashtag chunky necks.
Hashtag chunky necks.
So I know this has been jumping all around. I might move some parts of this and kind of put it more in story order. But what was how did the decision come along to move back to California?
Florida?
Oh, you're just like, yeah.
No, literally, we got there, and probably 6 weeks in, we were like, what the hell did we do?
Yeah. And then 5 years later.
And then 5 years later, we finally are able to save up enough money to move back out to California.
And do you want to talk about what the wife was up to? Was she into what she's doing now yet?
No, she wasn't. She was doing property management. So she didn't like what she was doing. I didn't like what I was doing. So we were like, well, let's move back to California and do something that we actually enjoy.
Was that putting strain on the relationship, or were you guys able to communicate about
Yeah,
it together and go, hey,
yeah,
why don't we get out of here and be
course.
happy?
Yeah.
So that brought you back to LA, and you landed in the Valley. Do you want to talk about where that was?
Glendale.
And then did you go full-time guitar when you got back?
No.
Yeah.
No, I was still working for, in Florida, I got a job with Starbucks Coffee Company. And, yeah, look at that. Look at that plug. Look at that segue.
This episode's
Yeah,
brought to you by
so,
Starbucks.
but that actually helped though, because I was able to transfer with Starbucks to out here
Right.
and have a
as
job.
you know from moving here once prior, coming here with a job, pretty
it
awesome.
helps. Yeah.
We didn't talk about the Knob Factory.
Oh, shit.
Oh, do you remember the Knob Factory?
Do I? My favorite job
Oh,
ever.
man.
It's the best.
So Keith and I signed up for a temporary employment service when we first moved here, and they placed us in a factory in Sylmar. It wasn't even a factory. It was like a distribution center.
warehouse, basically.
Right. So for the first week, we had to pull orders on tickets, like we were talking about earlier. They weren't hand filled out. This is the internet age. And we would pull tickets and get knobs and put them in a box and then take them over to shipping and receiving. And those guys were drunk enough to get them out the door to FedEx.
And eventually we got promoted.
That's right. 1 week later, we got to build the displays. So just like these boards right here, we'd get a board and then we'd pull a SKU. We'd pull all the knobs, display knobs. We're talking about drawer pulls and like handles for cabinets in bathrooms and kitchens.
Right.
And we would be paid very well.
To drill holes.
We drilled the holes with the template, right? And now that I'm thinking about it, this may have been good repetitive exercise for being a luthier.
True.
I doubt it. I gained all the skills and knowledge to become a luthier at a knob factory.
From a knob factory.
And we would screw the knobs on, and then we would ship them out to the dealers where people could then order those knobs. But the best part
was the knowledge that I gained from that employment situation and just general life responsibility.
And knowing you never wanted to clock in or work for anybody who's got any military experience ever again. God, I love military people. I love them. But my personality at the time, and maybe yours as well, was not one of punctuality or respect for those in authority.
Luckily, we could punch each other in.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Luckily, it was possible for us if the need arose.
Yeah. Because we rode together most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. And then you bought that sweet BMW.
Yes.
But
That
my
almost
favorite
caught on
part.
fire.
What's that?
That almost caught on fire.
Oh, yeah.
At the knob factory.
Yes. We won't talk about what we did at lunch every day, which is awesome. But my favorite part of that job was that we had, you had a compressed air cannon, I had a compressed air cannon, and for some reason they gave us these long, skinny tubes that fit a screw in them perfectly. And we would put the air gun to the end of it, load it with a screw, and we would have archery, what's it called, accuracy contest of who could hit a specific point on the wall. I think we put thousands of screws in those boxes.
Sure.
Did we get fired for that?
No.
We quit.
We quit, yeah.
Did we quit at the same time?
I think you quit a little before I did.
I ended up working on Rihanna's Umbrella, which led to a Hugo Boss commercial, which ended up getting me like 20 PA days.
Right.
And that started my film business career.
Right. Yeah.
And then you stuck it out.
Yeah.
And then you moved
I think
to Florida like a month later.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It was a good place to work because they had a loft upstairs so you could just go and take naps. And no one knew you were up there.
Yeah.
What a great place to work, man.
Awesome. That place is awesome. Because anytime you caught a PA gig, Keith didn't really fall into the film as it wasn't for him, but the rest of us really enjoyed it. So I would just call in sick and go make $200 a day as a PA, and then I would be like, yeah. But I didn't realize I didn't calculate the difference between what I was making at the knob factory and what I was making on set. I just wanted to get more set days.
Right. Well, I mean, the knob factory is not a lifetime career.
Well, what was that guy's name that we worked for? It is for him.
Oh my God.
I want to pop in there and see if he still works there.
Remember we rode by there
Yeah.
like not too long ago.
The dude that drove the convertible,
Don.
I see him twice
Dude,
a
I saw him
week.
once on Victory in the same car, and he still looked as cool as fuck.
He is the dude
Yes, he is.
from The Big Lebowski. He is that guy, mixed with a little bit of
That guy was the best.
what would you say you'd mix him with? He's got that walks on the balls of his feet swagger.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking of a specific person from a movie, but it might even be another character played by him.
I don't know, but that guy ruled.
Yeah.
More musical knowledge than Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
Like if you were to put Mark McGrath against Don, whatever
Dude.
his last name was,
Just
on Rock
Don.
and Roll Jeopardy,
Yeah.
I feel like Don would beat him.
Dude, it's amazing to me that he can afford the gas to get that 37-foot boat to sail around the valley, but also like he's kept it running.
Right?
That was 13, 14 years ago, and we'll still spot him.
I saw him probably 6 months ago on Victory.
Man, good for Don.
Living the dream, man.
Hashtag I miss you, Don. Liquid lunch, Don. That guy would crush 222s at lunch and not eat. Oh, man. We did it.
Yeah.
I think we did it. That leads us up to, let's get all the way through where you're at now. So you came back, Glendale. The wife starts to do hair.
She starts
now,
to go to school for hair.
Yep.
Graduates.
And is
meets
now
lots
one of the
people.
top colorists in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
And then you start doing your guitar thing. Eventually go full-time at guitars.
Right.
Around 2014.
Full time for myself. I tricked other people into paying me to learn how to build guitars.
Awesome.
For a while.
Yep.
But yeah, then for probably 2014-ish is when I went off on my own. So yeah.
And it's been all downhill from there.
And it's been all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of swearing, lots of smashing guitars, which is always fun.
Band-Aids.
Band-Aids. Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, no appendages have been lost yet. So
How many, do you think that you've logged 50,000 miles driving out to your shop?
I don't know. Let's figure it out.
It's a 100-mile
miles
round
a day.
trip. Yep.
I've been out there for 4 years now. I think it may be coming up on 5.
How many days a year? 200?
I'd say. I'm usually out there 5-6 days a week.
That's 5 days a week. Because if you take weekends, that's 2 days.
Yeah.
So it'd be about 260, let's say 260 days a year.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the shop is a bit of a drive, but it's beautiful and it's quiet, and it takes me the same amount of time as if I were to just drive downtown.
8 miles.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
The stop and go would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But 260, let's just easy math. 250 times 4 is 1,000 times 100. Cool.
What's that math?
It's 100,000 miles that
Okay.
you've driven to the shop.
Damn.
It's
You know
a
what
lot
I
of
need to
gas.
do? I've recently come to learn that there is a company that will pay you for the
Signs.
LED screen
Yeah.
on top of your car.
Dude.
And I feel like with that sort of mileage, I can get some decent money from that company.
Especially now that you're all electric.
If anyone knows the name of that company, please email me at marvinguitars@gmail.com and hook
we
me up.
can also Google it because we have the internet.
Yes, that's too much trouble.
They're also a sponsor. Cartops.com. Just gonna start making up sponsorships. I've probably called you a non-monetary sponsor of the safety meeting on this show 30 times.
All right.
Yeah, people call in all the time. I wonder where
I
they can
mean-
order guitars, and I'm like, I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah. Well,
I don't even know where to tell you.
I get orders all the time. I say, hey, I heard your plug on Safety Meeting podcast.
Oh man, let's wrap it up and get you out of here, Marvin. Jesus,
I mean, that's right.
it is technically correct. Keith, thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thanks
supporting
for
the
having
show. Please check him out at Marvin Guitars on Instagram. You can order straight through the social media platforms. You can email him directly at marvinguitars.com.
At Marvin Guitars. MarvinGuitars.com.
Yeah, just send him a DM. He checks his DMs, bro.
Facebook. Maybe. I don't know.
I think, well,
Does anyone still use Facebook?
yeah, your demographic that can afford your guitars is all on Facebook. That's where
Yeah.
all your marketing should be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just hit him in the DMs.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.